Samwise.
As you just get that nice audio of me slipping like that.
Oh yeah, dude.
Great little intro. Great little intro.
ASMR for y'all out there. Just, what a start. What a start. Welcome to the Bartcast, bro. Good to have you on.
Is that what it's called? The Bartcast?
It's called the Bartcast.
Dude,
yeah.
Let's go. Big time.
My guest today, Mr. Sam Bennett, the founder and lead of Sam Bennett Media. How do you describe yourself? What's your job title?
Okay, yeah, I always say I'm owner. That's kind of my first role, I would say.
Nice.
And then I would go into, I'm a videographer as well. I run a video production company. We specialize in wedding films, real estate content, and commercial work. It's kind of my
nice
little 10-second pitch there for you.
Awesome. How did you get started doing that kind of stuff? What got you into the owning your own business and shooting and?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it's definitely been quite a few years in the making. So I picked up a camera about probably 5 years ago. So like just to backtrack 5 years ago, I was traveling a lot. That was kind of my main passion, was just kind of hitting the road, traveling. And I would go on these trips with like dinky little GoPros, and I would kind of make little travel edits. That was kind of how I started getting into the content world, was just basically making little GoPro travel videos. And as I kind of progressed from there, I started upping my game a little bit, learning how to actually, dial in your camera settings and what good lighting looks like, and then buying more camera equipment. And that was probably like around 2018, 2019. And I was also still in college at that time, so I was kind of figuring out career, and I was obviously a college kid too, so I wasn't really taking it too serious at that point. I was kind of figuring out life. But the one thing I didn't knew back then was I wanted to travel. So I graduated in 2019 and took off first I took off to Europe, and I took off to Southeast Asia.
Nice.
So yeah, I went to SDSU, graduated with an international business degree, which was awesome. But ask me if I'm using it or not. I'm not. So that is what it is.
Well, you got a business.
I have a business, so I guess it kind of brought me somewhere, right?
Uh-huh.
So I took off for Europe for about 3 months, and then after that, I was like, I'm just gonna keep traveling as long as I can. So I actually ended up going to Southeast Asia, and I was planning on actually living there full time, teaching English and also doing some freelance work. So at that point as well, I was kind of manifesting that I really wanted to build a career for myself out of kind of content some way, somehow. At that point, I didn't really know how to monetize it yet. I was kind of just still making fun little travel edits with my GoPro. I think at that point, I also bought a Sony A6000, I think it was at the time. Which is a powerful camera for sure. I think if that's the right A6000.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a really, really good camera for what I got it for. I think I bought it for like $300.
Nice.
With like the kit lens and everything. Yeah. But I started making edits on that. So that was my kind of upgrade from the GoPro. And you know how it goes. I think as you kind of get better and better and you start kind of honing on your niche and what you like to make, what you don't like to make. When I was out traveling in Asia, I was kind of partnering with a few different kind of local businesses. And that's when like the light switch kind of went off, and I was like, damn, I can actually, make some money off of this, And at first I kind of started doing it for trade agreements, right? So I was doing it for free accommodation for a hostel, or for, I think one of my first ever gigs was working with a Muay Thai gym on the island of Koh Phangan in Thailand, which was super sick. Highly recommend doing that if you're in that part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Muay Thai is awesome. So I started like making a bunch of edits doing that. And then I actually ended up moving to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. So this was like end of 2019, early 2020. And I was planning on teaching English there for about a year or two. That was kind of the goal. And didn't really pan out given COVID. So I moved to Ho Chi Minh City, had everything kind of set up, was starting to kind of make some traction in like the expat community and finding some clients here and there for some photo video work. And then COVID happened, right? 2020, we all remember. Ended up leaving Ho Chi Minh City, I think in like April or March of 2020. Got out of there like right in time before basically just everything shut down. Flew back home to the Western world, hit Europe first. Ended up quarantining for like 2 months or a month and a half in the Netherlands, which is where I have a bunch of family. So I ended up doing that. And then moved home April of 2020. And that's kind of when I went kind of balls to the wall full time into what I do now. So
nice.
Yeah, it's kind of when I really was like, okay, I'm going to make this work, And I feel like that story for a lot of creatives is, I think people can like really relate to that, because I think COVID did bring out, like it kind of gave birth to a lot of creative businesses.
Oh, yeah.
It takes that leap of faith, right? I mean,
Sure.
Anyone that's like watching this for sure understands that like it takes that like leap of faith and that just kind of, you know, it's you never really know. It's like big risk, right? Kind of going off on your own and, you know, making your own money and making your own name for yourself. So that's kind of what I did. And that's what COVID kind of pushed me to do.
It's funny. I think we started in the same year, like 2018, 2019 was where I got started. And then, it was that same thing, like 2020. I was like, all right, this is going to be the year I set off. I'm going to like live off of my work. And then it was like, oh, the universe has other plans.
Totally, man.
And, but it also, you know, I'm grateful for that time because it gave me a couple years to really just work on the craft, honing my skills, and getting things ready so that when as we're coming out of the pandemic, there's now like this bevy of experience that gives me the confidence to break out there and take that big risk. And I think, you know, I'm a traveler myself.
Love that, man.
And
we can talk traveling for hours.
Oh, definitely. No,
if we had 4 hours, I could easily talk to you about this.
Got a million questions to ask about Southeast Asia because that's my next big trip I want to take.
Yeah, I was out there for 2 months, November, December. I think you probably saw it, but I was doing the Philippines, Taiwan, and Singapore.
Yeah, you've been traveling a lot lately, huh?
Dog, yeah, it's been my thing, right? And that's one of the perks about once you kind of go into your own thing is you make your own schedule and you kind of have. I'm starting to build a team around me now as well, which allows me to kind of take off. And, you know,
was that just for fun or was that work related?
It was just for fun for that trip. So obviously I'd like to make that more work related down the line, but I think there's also a time where, you know, you can put the camera away, which is a big thing. I think when we're always with a camera for work,
you still put a camera though, right?
Don't worry. I made some fun travel edits out of that. But there definitely is a time where I'm like, okay, you're going to burn yourself out. You know, if you just keeping your camera on for everything, right? So, but now I hit my like 42nd, I think, country last year, which is, you know, I've been on the grind for that. So,
awesome.
Yeah, got big goals to see.
Do you collect anything while you travel?
You know, I actually collect shot glasses.
Nice.
Which is probably like the worst thing to travel with when you're in a backpack. Because I've had a lot of them break on me. But yeah, I don't know. I think every country kind of, I mean, you'll see them in souvenir stores. What I wish I did when I started traveling, was I wish I would collect postcards.
Nice.
You ever seen people with like postcards of like, on their walls and shit? I think that's sick. I wish I started with that.
Yeah. It's funny because, you know, I lived in Europe for 7 months and traveled all around.
Nice. Dog, where?
I was in Denmark.
Okay.
But I went to 7 countries and
Denmark's expensive.
I was like, I want to collect something while I travel. And I was like, my first thought was shot glasses. My older brother had done that. And literally the first trip I got back from, like, opened my case, everything's broken. It's just a bunch of powdered glass.
Yeah, dude.
So then I was like, flags. Okay, I'm going to collect a flag from every country I go to. Forgot.
Yeah.
And so what I settled on, and this is something that I've done now as I travel, is I collect cheers. So like every country I go to, I learn how they say cheers. And, you know,
Salud,
doesn't take up.
Prost.
Yeah. Nastrovia.
Okay. Keep
Kampai,
going. Oh, yeah. There we go.
Opa, Yama, Salute.
Let's go, dude.
Sauji.
How many places have you been to? If you had to give a guess.
Close to 20, I want to say.
Dude, let's go.
Not your 47, but I've also, like, you know, you meet people from all over the world. I think I probably have like 26 or 27 languages. Cheers.
Hell yeah, bro.
Depending. Once I start drinking, the number goes up.
Yeah, they start.
Because I can remember better. But yeah, dude. I mean, traveling was so important to me in determining, like, not only what I value, but also like what I want to do with my life. It's not a coincidence. I did 3.5 months in India, the Western coast.
Dude, that's my next big trip.
Yeah, I can give you some recs.
Yeah.
And literally within 6 months of getting back, you know, in my 20s, I was like, what am I going to do? I want to do something creative, but I don't know what it is. I had so much anxiety about it. And 3.5 months in India, I get back, and 6 months later, it like presented itself to me. And it, you know, videography was kind of the thing that was right in front of me all along that I never...
Content creation, man.
Yeah, I never
We live
thought
in the digital
about.
content age now, right?
Totally.
I mean, that's... I've just seen so much stuff lately where it's just like, I mean, content is... It's the smallest it's ever going to be right now, right? It's a growing industry. And there's a serious need for more talented creators. You know?
Everybody need, yeah,
Everyone
business
needs content.
it.
I mean, it
Totally.
doesn't matter whether it's photo, video, like drone, like it's gonna just keep, I mean, everyone that for their personal brand, for their business, for their company, you name it, like everyone could use better content. So it's only gonna be a growing space.
So what's your favorite content to create? Like, what is your favorite stuff that you get to make?
Yeah, man. So I was kind of talking earlier. I have kind of like 3 different niches in my video space. I primarily do video. I don't really do much photo work anymore. But weddings, real estate, and kind of commercial work. Commercial work is a lot more the creative side. So you're working with like local businesses, some brands here and there. Just worked with Vessi, which was super sick. So kind of making some content for them. So that's more like fun, creative stuff that normally I take on. I don't usually put to my team. But I always say like I'm way more of like a business person than I am a creative. So kind of growing and scaling the businesses I have that I'm kind of running now are what I'm focusing on the most.
Yeah.
So for instance, weddings, real estate, I'm kind of like growing my team in each of those niches, right? So, outsourcing to editors, bringing on VAs, having a team of photographers that can basically go and service a listing when a lot of my repeat clients come and ask me. So it's no longer just me anymore doing it. And that's kind of where my passion really lies, is kind of growing those sides of the businesses. And then obviously I love when I get to work with cool companies like Vessi and I don't know, like Levi or whatever, all like anything like that, right? And then,
You did that multi-tool company. I forget what they were called.
yeah. Storis. Yeah.
Storis, yeah.
Shout out Storis.
Yeah.
No. So working with, I work with Stavro Media for that. Like he's a good partner of mine.
Okay.
Love that man.
Yeah.
Super creative guy.
Nice.
So just, collabing on different projects like that with other creatives is super fun. That's more of like my creative work. And then I kind of have like my business side where, you see like what Brittany's doing with JBJ and, what I'm kind of doing with SBM. It's kind of similar business models, right? So using your team to basically have in a sense, an associate team to, shoot more weddings because, you can only shoot so much, right? Yourself before you just burn out or,
Right.
You can only be in so many places at once, right?
Totally.
You can't shoot 5 weddings a weekend by yourself. It's just impossible.
I know it's funny. I was talking this morning to my homie, shout out Tony from iAdapt. He's just getting to this place that I think it's a common story on every creative's, especially with video and photo path. You get to that place where you start to have more work. Like so much of the early side, like this is where I am, is like trying to get more work, making calls, sending emails, scrolling through the Facebook groups for shoots and stuff like that, building those relationships. You get to this point where you suddenly have more coming in than you have hours in the day or than the balances that you want to have in your life. And I see it crop up time and again where it's like, okay, now I need to get my team together. Who are the people I trust? Who are the content creators I want to employ? And that's a whole nother suite of skills and another application of creativity that sounds like you're finding a lot of satisfaction in. So yeah, I was talking to my friend he tapped me today and he's like, hey, I'm starting my agency. Do you want to come on board? Do you want to, be one of my creators? And I'm like, hey, yeah, I have a lot to learn from people that have done this, people like yourself. I know someday that I'll have my own version of that. But it comes with it. There's a whole nother suite of skills to learn. That's kind of where I'm hitting right now. I've learned how to use my camera. I trust my creative eye. I know the things that I love and hate about the work and the stuff that I want to outsource and the stuff that I'm happy to do.
Yeah. I think that's really important too, man. It's like you have to do it all yourself. Like when I first started back in 2020, I didn't have a team. I was YouTube University. I was hitting up my good buddies that were, 5-6 years in the industry already. And I'm like, dude, how the hell do I send a proposal? How the hell do I,
write a
color S-log, footage,
contract.
right? We didn't have ChatGPT back then, right? So it's, it was, learning curve was tough, right? I mean, you have to, every creative will go through it. But you get to this point where you know how to do everything and all of a sudden it doesn't make any more sense to do it all yourself because your time is so much more valuable than it was like for me when I first started out. But knowing how to do everything yourself, knowing how to write those proposals, how to, shoot, how to have dial in your camera settings, like, because then you can start directing people, right? So that's where like it really comes in is like, I wouldn't be able to run a team now if I didn't know how to do it myself, So yeah, leveraging people because you already know how to, shoot that yourself. You just don't want to be there because, your time is so valuable
Mm-hmm.
and better spent doing sales, scaling the company,
Yeah.
going to networking events, things like this, right? So,
How do you market yourself? Like, what's your approach to marketing your business?
dude, I just love networking, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, love to network 100%. I think, I first started out right, I was back in 2020 back here, and I already had a pretty big network in the Bay Area because I grew up here, born and raised in the East Bay. So that was very, very helpful coming back to a place where I already knew people. So kind of just snowballing off of that, I first started in real estate. So I started, shooting with different people I knew, family, friends. People were kind of just letting me come on to shoot for them for free, basically. I think I shot my first wedding for like $150.
Nice.
I think I shot my first real estate video for almost like literally free.
Yeah.
Probably free actually.
$150 is a steal.
Yeah, dog. No, I mean, you gotta start somewhere, right?
Of
and
course.
I think, just honing in on your skills after that, right? And like once you start doing a great job, they'll want to refer you because they want to look good to their own clients and whatnot. So snowballing off your current network and your clients is super, super important. So, and then go into like a ton of different like networking events. I have different like kind of systems in place for my virtual assistants to like reach out to other, clients via, cold outreach, via calls. So that's a whole nother ball game, which is, definitely a can of worms. But I think primarily just, capitalizing off your current network and then just doing a good job, like doing high quality work for, whatever niche you're in. And then the work will follow after that.
Gotcha. Do you leverage social media? Do you do social media marketing
social media,
as well?
a lot of sliding into DMs, man. That's like a big thing for sure. Go on Instagram. Like for instance, Vessi, when I shot with them, I slid into their DMs, like don't be afraid to reach out to, potential clients and be like, hey, I love your stuff, love your content. I think it would be a great fit. This is what I have to offer, offer them a problem, like offer to solve them a problem, whether it is like they need better, photo content, video content. They need help with like their digital marketing, right? It's just, offer them, say they have a problem somewhere that you can, solve. That's the biggest thing. So yeah, I mean, marketing is huge. This year has been all about marketing for me. It's just figuring out how to grow into these different kind of markets, right? One of them being even the podcast market, right? Like this is right here. This is a huge trending market right now is, short form video content for, my clients, like realtors, for instance. They want, quick 15, 20, 30-second little clips of them talking about what's happening in the market right now, right? Like low inventory right now. I mean, the real estate industry's been kind of a shit show lately.
Right.
So yeah, that's been one thing.
How do you stand out from the massive amount of listings out there?
Totally, man. I mean, being a freaking realtor out here, it's like everyone's mom is a realtor, I feel like, right?
Yeah,
everyone's a realtor trying to sell their homes.
You get you get to a certain age when you're, setting off in your career and you start to see these different vectors that people take. And they're like, how do I get above the like entry level job pool? And that, as I get older, the real estate one, you see, oh, this guy goes into real estate. Oh, that's like your path that you're following, and it mirrors in some ways like what I'm doing. It's got its own ladder to climb. And it's fun. I did some research. I looked at your site and I was like, I liked the real estate video you did with the drone shots of the realtor running up the mountain. She's like, check out the trail. It's right next to the house.
Yeah, she's a funny client.
It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no, she always wants
Putting
to do
on
very
the track
creative
shoes.
stuff.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually redesigning the website as well right now. I just hired on a web developer, so
nice.
That's the next big step for me. And that's part of marketing, right?
Yeah.
Like, getting better SEO, getting better, a better website to attract the right clients. That's another big thing too.
Do you get cold leads in just coming in organically?
I'm starting to a lot more now. I've been having one of my big goals this year is to get more Google reviews. So like, having my assistants like reach out to like past clients and, get 5-star Google reviews so that, my business looks good on Google. And, I've been seeing a little bit more come in through Google, but I mean, it takes a lot. I mean, I don't run any Google ads or anything like that. I haven't seen any ROI in that.
Yeah.
At least for like small businesses. Maybe if you get to more like medium to large size, you get a little more ROI on that. But for me, I haven't done that just because I haven't heard from anyone telling me it's worth it. So
for sure. How big's your team?
I mean, you're in the Slack channel.
Yeah,
Probably about, I mean, creatives here in the Bay Area, I think about like 15 to 20
Okay.
is the team of photographers and videographers I leverage now for weddings and for real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And then my team abroad, so I outsource a ton, right? I have kind of like they're in-house editors, but I mean, they're not here.
Right.
They solely work for me, which is awesome, but I have one kind of like full-time assistant that works for me 40 plus hours a week. And then I have different kind of editors for different projects. So I have like a commercial editor who does like a lot of commercial work for me. I have real estate editors, real estate photographers, or editors who do real estate photography work. I have a wedding production company that basically just does my wedding edits for me. So I don't edit anymore.
Nice.
I'll only edit like the edits that I really want to, or I'm trying to really impress, or that kind of thing. Or if it's for my own brand, then maybe I'll edit myself. But
For sure.
I completely and fully leverage outsourcing because I mean,
Your time's too valuable.
My time's too valuable, man. I mean, you want to.
I have the same feelings. There's definitely like doing everything, wearing all the hats. There are certain things that I'm like, I can't wait to outsource this.
Totally.
Editing's there. Like I like to edit, and especially when it's my own creative projects, or like you said, like it's directly my brand. Like I do a lot of shooting as contractors for people like yourself, other brands. But when I'm doing direct to client, like I want to have full creative control.
Totally.
And I know that will change as I scale. I'm going to get to a place where it makes more sense for me to,
Yeah, and you can only do it when you're in a place financially where it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at break down your time hourly, like, I mean, for me, it takes 15, 20 hours to edit a wedding film. If I'm paying my guys like $200, $300 to edit my wedding film, I mean, my hourly is basically that or more. I cannot justify sitting down to do 10, 15 hours to edit a wedding film because I just, one, don't have that time, and two, I could never pay myself what I could pay my editing team to do it for me.
Especially that it's editing's become such, like the marketplace is an international one. So you're competing against a guy in Bangladesh or in Eastern Europe or, you know, like.
And my guys, like my assistants in the Philippines, my real estate photography editors are in India, my commercial editors in Serbia, like they're all over the world, right? But I mean, the dollar goes so far in places like that. And we understand, I mean, we've been there. Like it's the Philippines, I could live off of like $15 a day.
Totally.
Probably less.
Yep.
You know, so the dollar just goes super, super far there, and you're able to leverage that to grow. And also in the same time, like people always ask me like, oh, ethics wise, like, do you not feel bad about like paying someone like $7, $10 an hour? And the honest question is no, I don't actually feel bad because I'm actually providing for them, you know, a really good wage in comparison to what their like local jobs would be. You know, like I've been to these places, the Philippines, it's pretty third world at times, right? Like it's, you know, it's not necessarily like Western culture civilization.
Right. It's a good, the cost of living is so much lower that it's still a decent rate for them.
I mean, it's a really, really good rate for them, 100%. So that's kind of how I view it.
Totally.
But
what do you, like, you know, just thinking about hearing your story and your background, your education, like, you could have done so many things business-wise. Why did you choose videography? Like, why video?
You know, and like I said, I've always said I'm more of a business person than I am a videographer, I think. I love video, and you know how I got into it now was from travel content. But I think, like we said, like the market is growing in the content space, and it's the smallest it's ever going to be right now. It's going to continue to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So, I mean, I think I'm lucky that I kind of got into it when I did because it is a growing space, and that's kind of always what you want to work in is a growing, emerging market. Yeah. Which it for sure is. And I think a lot of other businesses, I mean, we're service-based providers, right? And like, for instance, for weddings and real estate, that's a scalable business, you know? There's a roadmap. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. There's like a roadmap to follow. Like for instance, Brittany and JBJ, they are, you know, crushing it right now, right? And they have, you know, done fantastic the last like 5 years, just kind of growing their team, you know, paving the way. And Brittany's like a great mentor and a great friend of mine now. So just kind of, you know, learning from her, learn by doing, making a lot of mistakes, right? That's kind of how I've been doing it. You know, it's been working out great for me. I'm 2.5 years in now, and I'm doing not bad for 2.5 years. So yeah, I think don't reinvent the wheel. That's for sure. That's the one advice I would say.
Yeah, keep it easy and keep it
Keep
fun.
it simple, keep it stupid, man.
Yeah.
Find good mentors and yeah, just learn from them. Don't have to teach everything yourself. Like YouTube University is great, but if you can find some people who, you trust and that you can kind of like talk business with all the time, like that's a great step in the right direction. Is just surround yourself with people who truly want to see you succeed and vice versa, and then just learning off each other, right?
Yeah, mentors are so important.
So important, man.
And, both in like finding them externally and being your own mentor. I know for years I was like, if I could just find that senior videographer who could take me under their wing and like, show me. And then I kind of had to do that for myself. And then through that, I found people to learn from. And now I'm in this cool position where I have a couple friends that I'm able to do that for. And like, that's such a valuable and rewarding thing, is when you're able to give that back to the next generation or to someone that maybe has a little less experience.
Totally. What comes around goes around, right, man? I want to at some point kind of hand down what I've learned as well to people, and mentor other people as well that are kind of, just starting out in the market. Because like we said, it's a growing market and there are going to be a ton of photographers and filmmakers that are emerging in the next couple of years. And that's why you see all these like online courses come out right now, right? Different podcasts being set up. I know right now, I'll give a little shout out to Shoot Your Shot. And have you seen them?
No.
Yeah, Shoot Your Shot. They're down in LA.
Okay.
Just connected them like last weekend, and they just launched their podcast about basically the creative community, especially down in LA, and they're more women focused. So women content creators.
Nice.
But I think they've got like a few episodes out now, and they're crushing it. So.
Sweet. Shout out, Shoot Your Shot.
Yeah. Shout out, Shoot Your Shot. Yeah. So, nah, man, it's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride for sure. It's been crazy. It's only been 3 years, so
right.
Pretty wild to see that. But gotta stay humble as well. And like, I've done well, but there's so much more market to be had.
Yeah,
market share to be explored. So, yeah, it's definitely only up from here, I think, and gotta just keep grinding.
Speaking of grinding, something I like to ask creatives: what are your peak creative hours? Or productive hours of the day, I should say.
Oh man, it used to be, and I have some crazy creative friends that like are just like they work all hours of the night.
Yeah,
and I don't edit as much anymore, right? So like for what I do, I kind of outsource, and I have my editing team now. So I used to edit way late into the night, especially for real estate, because it would have to be like a quick 24-hour turnaround. Pardon me, quick 24-hour turnaround, and I was kind of just like I had to get it done for the client for the next day. So I would work till like 2 a.m. or whatever to make sure I finish that real estate video or edit those photos so that I can send them in the morning. But now it's like, because I leverage a team that's abroad, my evening is their morning most of the time. So when I upload to them, they're working on it already overnight, and they're able to get it back to me, within 10 to 12 hours, depending on, quick little camera break.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you or cut you off.
Ooh. Yeah, so that's like a big thing, is leveraging those teams that are abroad, because they are awake when you're sleeping. So it's passive in a way, right? So, while you're sleeping, your business is still running. So
nice. Yeah, I feel like that's part of every creative person's path, is like identifying what your peak hours are. For me, it's like 12 to 5, 12 to 6. And I know when I was just starting out, there was like a bit of...
Oh, shit.
A bit of...
That cat is... cat's a goner.
Yeah, I had to accept that about myself.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of shame that like the peak, or the average like 9 to 5 didn't work for me as much.
Tell me, man.
And I think that's the, how a lot of people find their way into this kind of work. It's like, hey, like, I don't really fit into the traditional box of 40-hour work weeks, and, maybe you get some weekends off. And, like, I know that as someone who likes to travel, like 15 days off of the year just doesn't cut it for me.
Oh, bro. It's wild to me, man. Like, I mean, all my best friends are obviously like in corporate jobs and stuff, and, mad respect to them for being able to do it. But knowing like what we do, it's like, I could never put myself in a box of, 40 plus hours a week, and then, like 15 to 20 days off maybe, per year. I took off for the Philippines for like almost a month and a half. You can't do that when you're working a corporate job, right?
Right.
It's just impossible. And I have college to thank for that actually, because when I was figuring it out, I think like sophomore year, I started working for like this just internship for this like accounting firm. And it was like over the summer I had to do it. I wasn't getting paid for it. And I just hated my life doing it. I hated it. And I was like, wow, I could never do this for the rest of my life, you know? And that really like opened my eyes up to, oh shit, I don't want this for myself. How do I not do this, you know? And that's kind of what was like, all right, find ways to not, you know, climb the corporate ladder and get out of that rat race, right?
Yeah.
I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad for like the third time
Oh,
right now.
nice.
And they talk a lot about that, right?
Sure.
It's just kind of getting out of the rat race. And
But it sounds like you're about to potentially become your own corporate ladder.
maybe, man. I mean, yeah. We'll see. I don't have any full-time employees yet, but that would be cool. Would be cool. I wouldn't mind extra help, but yeah. So
here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Who is inspiring you right now? Can you point like who's
Absolutely,
a creator
bro.
that has got you fired up about this?
I mean, right off the bat, Sam Bennett. I mean, I was just down there for his film festival last weekend. I was just down for a quick little 2-day trip. Happy birthday, Sam, if you're watching this. Is an absolute legend. I've worked with Sam a few times in the last couple of years, and he's like a pretty big YouTuber, and he does like a lot of kind of content for big brands. He's a Canon ambassador. He travels all the time. He's like big in the travel industry, which I obviously love because big travel guy myself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely was watching him and a few other guys when I was kind of getting into the kind of content space. And now to call him my buddy as well is pretty wild. And just going down there and seeing like what he's been accomplishing down in LA, and he's kind of put together this kind of community down there, which has been awesome to be a part of. The premiere went amazing.
Yeah, what was tell me about the premiere. What was that for?
So basically he hosts every year for his birthday. I think it was like this fourth or fifth one. He hosts like this like film premiere where basically he just invites all of his like kind of creative friends down there. And they premiere different kind of short films, narratives, docs, whatever. Just like really just impressive creative work that's just kind of always pushing the envelope of, you know, creativity and the independent filmmaking space. So yeah, it's really awesome to just go down there and see all these like super talented filmmakers just come together and, you know, one, network, and two, just be part of something, I think, bigger than himself. And I think that's what Sam's done really well down in LA.
Nice.
So
is he a filmmaker as well?
He's a filmmaker. Yeah, he's a filmmaker. He's a YouTuber. There's like a lot of like kind of content with different brands, taking them internationally.
Okay.
So yeah, that's one
what's
guy
his
for
channel
sure.
called?
Sam Bennett. I think that's just his channel.
How do you spell the last name?
Newton.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Nice. I'm putting you on the hot seat for that one.
Hot seat. Yeah. So Sam's definitely up there.
Yeah.
Don't want to keep sucking his dick. Sorry, Sam. But yeah, he's up there for sure. Man, a few other creatives. I got to meet. Well, that's another thing about the film premieres. I get to meet some amazing people. So Eric Floberg is one of them.
Okay.
He's a super talented filmmaker, photographer. Really just awesome creative business owner as well, and I respect that about him. Danny Gewirtz, he's awesome. Love that guy.
Shout out.
Yeah, Danny. He's just been making his own film actually. Like this kind of short film, which I have yet to watch, but I'm super stoked to watch that.
Nice.
He kind of has like this, he does like a whole bunch of like behind the scenes on how he, you know, basically creates his films, does like from like start to finish. So yeah, as an emerging content creator, highly recommend to follow him. He's got some really, really good stuff out there. Who else in the creators? There's so many guys. I mean, there's
have
so
you
many.
ever thought about filmmaking for yourself?
Like a kind of launching like a course or something like that,
or just making like, you know, directing or
totally, man. Absolutely.
DPing
Actually,
a film
well, it's funny. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna drop this now, but I would actually love to launch a premiere of my own, like a kind of film premiere of my own later this year in the Bay Area.
Okay.
So I'm working towards that. Probably won't talk about it too much on this podcast, but definitely working towards
pokers in the fire.
Yeah, working towards something like that. So we'll chat more about that another time. Maybe we can come on the podcast again. When I've totally kind of planned a little bit more around that, but that is in the works for later in the winter.
Nice.
So yeah, working my own like kind of short film.
Okay. Well, maybe this answers this question, but I'm curious. Well, another thing I like to ask, you know, creatives when they come on is, what's your holy grail? Is there a holy grail for Sam Bennett? Like,
My holy grail. That's a
Yeah.
great question, dog. I mean, I definitely want to keep just scaling the company. So scaling to be more than myself. So breaking the kind of creative struggle, the solopreneur struggle is where my heart really is. So kind of growing a team to be 30, 40, 50 creatives plus, so that I'm no longer really even shooting as much anymore. And I'm just kind of managing my team and directing a lot more and kind of growing in that way. So, I mean, we've talked about it. I love to travel. I have other interests besides just, business, right?
Right.
And I think that's kind of what life's about, right? Like I love business. I love doing that, but I also love enjoying my life too, right? So
Totally.
being able to have time to take off for the Philippines or Asia for 2 months or
Yeah.
to India and do like a 2-month trek and just, kind of disconnect from the world is super important to me. And I think growing a business is the only way to really kind of do that, because you can't really do that with a corporate job. Or maybe if you're a teacher and you take off 2 months for the summer, but other than that, then you can't really afford to go do that.
Right.
Sorry, teachers. But
Yeah, totally.
not to bash them, but yeah, no, I think something like that would be my holy grail, is just to kind of grow the business more, to be, I'll just drop a number in there, $1 million company in a few years, right? So we'll see what happens, but I would love to kind of grow in those spaces and just make sure that I'm never stagnant. So
Never stagnant. I like that. That's like your stand-up comedy special name. Sam Bennett, never stagnant.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing, like when you think about this dream, your company, your dreams for your company, is there an ideal size? Is it something that you want to scale inevitably? Or is there something that's like a good stable size that you think of that, I know for myself personally, like I have no desire to work or be part of a large organization. There's almost like a certain number of, there's like that sweet spot where it starts to lose kind of identity.
Yeah.
Do you have an image in your mind of what that looks like? Or maybe you want to be the biggest media company in the world? I don't know.
I don't really want to be the biggest media company in the world.
Yeah.
I definitely think I want to be like on that medium size for sure. And that could change. I don't really know. Honestly, I think I just met with a catering company 3 nights ago, and I mean, they're doing $7 million a year right now in revenue, which just baffles me. And they have 75 employees, and I met the owner, and he's just such a cool guy, and he's done super well for himself. Been in the business for like 30 plus years, right? And so he's very experienced. Works in events, weddings, whatnot, right? And you kind of just see how much, he started by himself, and how much, he kind of grew into becoming a business owner, right? And I think I could easily see that for myself and for other creatives who really just focus on the business side of things. So yeah, I think medium size, I would love to onboard employees at some point. Right now I'm still leveraging contractors, but I definitely see myself scaling to, I don't know, maybe 25 people when I kind of really establish more of a name for myself. I mean, I'm still pretty young, right?
Yeah.
25 years old. So,
Nice, dude.
yeah, kind of still figuring things out as we all are, as we all are. But yeah, definitely got big goals. And I think that's a big thing, right? As well as, setting your sights for the freaking moon.
Yeah.
Totally.
Do you, what do you think, what is important in establishing a successful business? Like what are some lessons that you've learned in creating your business, how do you get the system running so that it's kind of this perpetual motion machine? Have you learned any lessons along the way that you think are making your business more or less successful?
Yeah. I mean, I think in each industry, it's slightly different, but just offering like the highest quality service possible, right? Like going above and beyond with every client to make them keep coming back, right? So for realtors, like, offering them free services here and there and making sure everything's on time and the quality is good. So that's the struggle with scaling as well, is like once you start like offloading more work to other people, you may lose quality here and there, right? So you have to like, it's a fine line between, not losing quality, but also unloading, your work, because you can only do so much, right? And you have to unload work in order to grow. So, I would say like kind of just dancing on that fine line. So just making sure that your clients are happy with you, your business, you're both growing together. I mean, that's how I always look at every client. It's like a partnership almost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like money being exchanged to service, right? You're a service provider, but my ultimate goal is to also grow alongside them, right? So making sure that my clients really love my service and they keep coming back for more.
The personal touch.
The personal touch, right? And that's why Sam Bennett Media, I'm still the face of the brand, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it helps grow. And until a certain point where you're very distant, I think, from your brand, then it's like maybe you have to rebrand or, you know. But I think, yeah, just keeping the white glove service almost, like making sure everything, your clients are super happy.
Do you
very important.
Do you think a lot about your own like work-life balance? Like how many hours a week
Yeah.
would you say you work right now?
Oh man, it varies, bro. Like it's some, like when I first started, my work-life balance was not healthy. Like I think it's like any creative or business owner, right? They start and they're just fucking swamped with work because there's so many things.
If you're lucky.
If you're well, yeah. I mean, there's always so many things you can do, from sales to marketing to finances to accounting to bookkeeping. Like there's so many things you can do. Graphic design, like there's literally so many avenues of just work that you can just focus on, which you can get really lost, you know, in the sauce for just kind of figuring things out, so especially when you're beginning. But yeah, I would say making sure you have like a north, like a compass almost, like reminding yourself why you're doing it and keeping focused. So
do you have a goal of like, you know, what's your ideal, you know, number of hours a week if you had to think about it, like where you have that good work-life balance? It's such an elusive thing.
I guess I didn't really answer your question. Actually, yeah, you're right. I kind of
How dare you?
Yeah, focus, which I mean, yeah, it's tough to do when you're working like 60 plus hours a week. No, I think when I started out, I was probably working way too much, like probably 60 plus hours a week.
Okay.
Just trying to get the business off the ground running. I think as I started leveraging, you know, assistants and shooters, and my time started becoming more free. And then we're very seasonal as well. Like real estate's seasonal. Weddings are definitely seasonal. So, I mean, for me, like March to August is just swamped. Like I have tons of weddings, so events, corporate stuff. Real estate kind of pops off in the summer as well. So, I mean, May to July, I'm just fucking, just don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm
Grind,
busy for sure.
grind.
It's grind. But yeah, so I think seasonal, I definitely am still round the clock for that. But I mean, October, November, December, things start slowing down a bit. Like November, December, especially. Like that's why I took off for Asia, because I have the team in place now to kind of work for a few shoots that we do have, and then I can kind of take some time off and go to the Philippines, go to India, right?
Yeah.
So seasonal in a sense, but also, yeah, I mean, it's definitely when it picks up, it picks up. And then just kind of maintaining that work-life balance can be tricky for sure. That's why having a team's nice, because, you know, you're not just doing it yourself anymore. You're able to leverage people and, you know, leverage your time better. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. Like I'm trying to get to that place where I take off like January, February. I hate February. February's been all right, but it's usually my least favorite month of the year. And the last 2 years I've been like, I need to get to a place where I can just leave for this month. You know, but January was really rough this year. I'm like, man, I'm here. I'm paying like expensive rent. Cost of living's high. I got to get things dialed so I can just go.
That's just everyone though.
Live on a beach.
I mean, we're in a recession. I mean, that's everyone in this market right now. Every creative, I think, has been seeing less work come through the pipeline the last couple months. I think that's not completely unheard of. I mean, it is seasonal, right? Like it will pick up again. I guarantee you. I mean, January, February was it was really slow for me too, honestly. Like it was not as like quick or as much work going around, especially in real estate, as there probably have been last year. But that's kind of also why it's good to, you know, one, pivot the market, and two, have different streams of revenue, right? So not just focusing on real estate, right? Doing real estate, weddings, corporate work, whatever, like having multiple sources of leads so that you're not just, you know, all your eggs are in one basket, because then you're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot. If say the real estate industry is just super slow and dead, you know, then your income is that versus if you do real estate, weddings, say you do portraits for seniors, like also very seasonal, right? So yeah, doing multiple things is very helpful.
Nice. So you're a Sony man like myself.
We're getting into gear.
Let's get into some gear, dude.
Gearhead.
What's your dream camera right now that you don't own?
That I don't own?
Yeah. Apologies to all you. This is some inside baseball, but
gear matters.
Gear matters. So
no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I mean, it does to an extent. I mean, I honestly have for what I have for client work.
Yeah.
I shoot, my main camera is my Sony A7S III.
That's what you're being captured on right now.
Love that.
Yeah.
See, great camera.
Yeah.
Sony, please sponsor me.
Yeah.
Sony A7S III is my main cam. My B cam is Sony A7 III. My dream camera would probably be like an FX6 right now. So sticking with the Sony mounts.
That internal variable ND.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, for honestly, like, unless I have like really high-end commercial work that come in through the pipeline, weddings, I don't really want the big setup.
No.
Real estate, I don't want the big setup. I want mirrorless.
Yeah, run and gun, baby.
I have every lens under the planet now that I need for my shoots. So I don't see myself buying a new camera body for at least the next year or two. I mean, unless I have like made too much and I need to bring my my taxable income down this next year.
Yeah.
Which I just had a meeting with my tax guy earlier today. So we'll have to see about that. But yeah, I would say my dream camera is not important for business right now. So
what's the lens that you use the most?
24-70.
Oh yeah.
Easy.
Are you a G Master or Sigma?
Sigma, dog. I mean, the G Master is like a really nice lens for sure, but I mean, it's what, an extra grand or something like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Sigma is
that's what that one is.
Yeah,
we probably have the
that
same
camera,
one.
that setup is perfect.
It's funny because my friend, shout out Alexa, if you're watching this, she's got a G Master and I just talked her into getting an A7S III. So like, I've gotten to look at her footage and mine side by side. I have the Sigma lens. She has the G Master lens, and I love my Sigma. I feel like it's like even a more neutral lens, but there's something about that G Master that does, like, I get it. It has this like look to it that's very like creamy, very buttery.
Totally.
But is it
throw
worth
a Pro Mist on there and you'll be just fine.
Make
it a little soft.
Yeah.
You'll
is
be
it
fine.
worth $1,000, $1,200, whatever extra? I'm not sure.
The answer is no.
Yeah. Exactly.
The answer is no. It's
Exactly.
not. But I mean, if you really, really want it,
yeah,
who am I to stop you? You know. But I feel like, especially if you're starting out, save your money. Lenses don't. I mean, they're nice to have, but it's more important to find clients that will keep paying you, not spending your money on lenses that don't necessarily will get you more work. You know, that's not going to make or break you.
I will say, you know, my camera has gotten me more work, like my A7. When I bought my A7S III. Totally.
And there's a level to like, I mean, yeah, gear matters to an extent. Like you got to have like those mirrorless setups in order to shoot weddings, in order to shoot real estate.
Yep.
A7S III is a phenomenal camera. I mean, it's technically a cinema camera, right? So I mean, that's...
You hear that, Netflix? Put it on your list.
Is it not on the Netflix list?
No, it's so lame.
Think
it's my biggest bone to pick with them.
FX3 is.
Yeah, but for some reason...
Which is so stupid because it's like the exact same quality
as the same
A7S
sensor,
III.
same color science. For some reason, they didn't put the A7S III. They did put... I think there's some Canons and some even Panasonics on there that are like... inferior in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But, it's funny because I have this camera that I know I could shoot a feature film on.
Totally.
And most, you know, it would look great. You know, if you shot it in the max settings and all that. But
yeah. No doubt.
How do you handle, like at your weddings, how do you handle audio?
I usually have, so you're talking about like ceremony, you're talking about like toast, like
Sure.
general?
Like, I mean, you know, you get your, I'm sure you have your Zoom coming out of the board.
I got my Zoom H4n coming out of the deck, and
what do you use for
my backup?
for the mics.
I use some Tascam DR10Ls for DR10Ls
for lavs.
For lavalier mics. I'll mic the groom up. I'll mic the officiant up. That doesn't sound good. I'll have on camera audio just to sync that. Usually have like one shotgun going just in case for like reaction stuff. And then I'll have usually like. For toast, I'll have like a little Sony mic recorder as well, just somewhere maybe near a speaker, just in case all else fails.
Redundancy.
Yeah, I'll put that either like in the actual mic itself with a sleeve, or I'll put it somewhere because audio matters. Audio does matter, and having shit audio is fucking shit.
So this thing
Is that what we have? Yeah.
You got one of these?
It's similar. I
This
mean,
is
it's
like
the same.
one of my favorite.
You slide that guy into a
Yeah.
micro. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite pieces of tech I've bought in the last couple years. This thing is like I've actually started using this depending on the client for, to replace a lav for
Totally.
first looks or ceremonies.
Just slide in a pocket.
You put it in a pocket. It looks
Yeah.
like an e-cigarette, like a vape, and it's like very low profile, you know. And it's got like I don't know. Sony's developed some sort of technology that makes it like have a 3-foot radius of pickup, but it doesn't pick up like ambient noise very much. So I don't know. A lot of people I shoot for are like happy with this audio.
Yeah.
I think that you're probably getting better stuff out of a lav, but
Probably. But
it's good enough.
It's
you
good
know?
enough. And that's, my friends, is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Good enough perfection's impossible,
Not
right?
just good.
good
enough.
enough.
Yeah.
It's perfection's truly impossible. And that's the thing about editors, right? I mean, people always like, oh no, I want to make sure it's like perfect. I'm just like, your work's not even perfect, dog.
Right.
Like you just gotta. I mean, my editors will get to like 95%, and if I go in there and do my last little touch up in the final project file, by all means, But nothing will ever be perfect, truly. So letting go of perfection is super important in the creative world.
Yeah, otherwise you never put anything out.
Totally.
It's something that especially with this podcast, it's been such an exercise for me of making and releasing and not forgetting, but like I don't watch or listen to a lot of these episodes after I release them. In the beginning, I listened to like everyone. Some of them were painful. I would agonize over my mistakes, but you get to a place where it's like, I almost feel like as soon as this is like out in the ether and I release it, it's not for me anymore. It's for whoever finds this interesting and whoever is enjoying it. And
Totally.
you don't, as an artist, as a creator, you don't get to decide how people react to your content. It's like not my place, whether they love it or they hate it. All I can do is be authentic in the way that I want to make, in the way that I want to create. And then it's up to the audience to determine whether or not they're interested in it. And I do believe that we all have an audience out there.
Oh, 100%.
The internet has made it possible for that to be a non-localized solution. There's people all over the world who might enjoy what we're talking about right now.
That's the thing about online businesses and content is that the internet is limitless, right? I mean, you have all of a sudden access to not your local, your local community. You all of a sudden have access to the great wide internet where everyone has access to. So yeah, there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling.
Southeast Asia. Tell me what was your favorite spot you visited in your travels?
Yes. I mean, the clear-cut answer is Thailand. I was about 2.5 months in Thailand.
Okay.
Back in 2019. For those of you who have not been to Thailand, it's absolutely breathtaking. I mean, you got the north, the south, you got Bangkok, there's just so much to see and do there. I mean, the food's amazing. The people are like the friendliest on the planet. You got like the most beautiful beaches on the planet, maybe besides the Philippines, which are also fantastic. The entire country itself is like super diverse, right? So you can fit so many different kinds of trips into just one country. Like in the north, you have the elephants, you have like the elephant sanctuaries, you have like all the temples, you have just the amazing food, you have the different like scooter loops you can do. I mean, there's just endless things to do in both the north and the south. In the south, you got like the beautiful beaches, you got the parties, you got there's just a ton to do there. It's just so much fun. I didn't want to leave when I was there. Honestly, I was itching to just stay there. But that was my first stop on my trip. I was like, dang, I gotta keep going to keep exploring.
How many months did you travel for?
I was in Asia before I went to Vietnam. I was there for about 6 months. And then I went to Vietnam to basically hunker down. Found that place, Ho Chi Minh City in Saigon.
English teaching program or something?
I did, yeah. I already had my TEFL and I was kind of just mobbed there. Found the job pretty quick.
Nice.
And then COVID. So yeah. Shout out to my Vietnam roommates, but that was we had a really cool expat community there, and
I love that.
it was a lot of fun for while I was there. I mean, Ho Chi Minh City is a super cool place and huge expat community, like I said, and great food, good vibes all around. Like,
Hell
I mean, if you're ever a teacher there, it's like you're living like a king with the kind of salary you'd be making. And then also you combine that with like a little bit of content or a little side hustle. It's, you know, like I said, cost of living, like we talked about earlier, super low in Vietnam. One of the lowest on the planet. Right? You can live off of basically nothing there. And I think my rent was $200 a month, you know, and I had my own my own room, bathroom.
Nice.
We had a maid. It was like wild. So
live and laugh.
You know, exactly. So you can't really beat it.
If you were, you know, let's say you were offered, you know, someone was like, I want to produce a YouTube channel or some sort of content that you're going to be the host of, that you're going to create. What do you think that would be? What would your show be about?
It would definitely be about traveling, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I follow a lot of travel content creators, so
What's the Sam Bennett travel show?
Oh man, maybe like a bunch of like challenges and stuff. I love the like I ran a marathon last year.
Nice.
I'm obviously doing this like 30-day plant-based challenge right now. We were chatting about before we got on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
like I love challenging myself physically and mentally, right? So just kind of pushing myself to travel to who the hell knows with just a backpack and by myself, right? Like I love putting myself in environments like that. I think it's super important for me just as a person to grow. And I also just love being solo and seeing the world on my own. So probably something around that, either traveling, food related. Maybe like a shoestring budget type of content. I hosted like a couple food shows. Like I was like a host for this like Vietnamese YouTube channel for like a hot second.
Okay.
When I was out in Vietnam. So I had a little bit of experience, funny enough, like doing a bunch of like street food vendor tours.
Nice.
In Saigon. So that was actually a lot of fun. But yeah, it probably wouldn't be that if I had like a dream show. But I mean, you've seen like Yes Theory. No, you've never seen Yes Theory?
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay, man. Like they're huge in the travel game now, and they do a lot of like travel related content and traveling to like the most remote places and meeting the coolest people. So it'd probably be something similar to that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have a dream of a travel show myself. It's funny, like YouTube has been such a utility for me. And I know that for a lot of people, it's a huge source of entertainment. And I've done, you know, I'll go on like my, you know, rabbit hole dives about video editing techniques or, you know, reviews or, you know, like you, I'm self-taught, everything off YouTube University pretty much. But I haven't like jumped into even like checking out the content that I myself want to create, which is like more along those, you know, I have a travel show idea. I have this dream of, you know, just flying to Burma and doing the whole thing, spending a year, free travel, making content as I go, and just got to find the right financial base for it, or get the you know, I think one way to do it would be to get the digital marketing apparatus to the point where I can choose a city, turn on the knobs, have my campaigns tailored to where I can run ads.
Yeah.
Have the work lined up.
Or just start pitching agencies, right? I mean, that's like a big thing. It's just like, you know, offering like travel agencies, like resorts, hotels, whatever, just like partner with these guys. And that's kind of how you can get your stuff paid for. I myself haven't even done it enough because I've just been focusing so much work here. Yeah. Like locally wise. But I mean, just shoot people, like have an offer, and you know, you're never going to know until you shoot your shot, right? Just send it out.
Shoot your shot.
That must just be in my head when I said that. I don't know. I don't know if I use that in the right. Is that in the right way? I don't know.
I think that's definitely in the right way.
But yeah. No. I would say definitely just reaching out and finding partnerships like that. Because when honestly, like picking up a camera and knowing what to do with a camera is like the biggest life hack, because you can just take that anywhere you go. Totally. You can literally bring that anywhere and leverage that to your advantage, because everyone needs content, like we said, right? Whether you're a business, hotel, personal brand, you know, you can find an offer that will be good enough to sell to anyone, you know, and then it's just knowing how to sell that service or that offer.
I love that, dude. I'm gonna be bothering you in the future with more on that.
And I'm also, I get, so definitely please do. But Creative Rise, my buddy Joey out there, he owns Creative Rise podcast. He's fantastic. Like the value they bring to that podcast, if you're a creator, is just go and binge that, and you'll learn so much, so much. Joey's freaking animal. He is super knowledgeable, and it just drops dimes almost every episode. So for any creative that's like looking to
dropping dimes,
break their first 6 figures or whatnot, those guys are killer. They
what
also
was the
run
name of the podcast again?
Creative Rise.
Creative Rise.
With no E. Creative with no E. And then, So,
cool. Creative.
No, yeah. So CRE, creative, and then Rise.
Gotcha. No E at the end.
At the end of the first creative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, little plug for them, but they're freaking awesome. So, highly recommend.
What advice would you give to a young videographer just starting out?
Oh, man.
To
a young videographer.
Getting ready to get their first camera.
Oh, man. Do it. Just send it, right?
Yeah.
I think like I said, we're in this market now where, it's the smallest it's ever going to be. I think it's just an emerging market still. It's still growing. Get in early. I think we're super lucky that we're in this market now. I think in the next 5 years, especially with how things are going with like crazy tech, right? You got AI coming in. Like so many jobs are going to become obsolete.
Yeah.
And honestly, creativity is pretty hard to replicate, I think, even with things like AI. So I think just, buy that first camera, YouTube University it up, get into full-time filmmaker. Those are great. Those guys are great.
Oh, have you done any? I wanted to ask you, have you done any of those pipelines?
I did FTF for a bit in the beginning. They were helpful for sure. Like, especially if you don't know anything, like having guys like that, if you don't have a mentor of some sort, like that's a great place to start. And then the value they provide for whatever they charge nowadays, you'll thank yourself later. Just like understanding lighting, dialing in your camera settings, kind of what gear to buy initially, and kind of figuring out where you like to shoot as well.
Yeah.
I think those guys will help you for sure.
What about I always wonder, because time and again, I come back, one of the Instagram ads will grab me or whatever. I think I did one of their full-time filmmaker courses. But I'm wondering about the business development side. Have you done any of that where they are talking about things like retainer contracts or, call scripts, the marketing side? Have you experienced any of that, or do you have any?
I'm not great on retainers. I would love to have more retainer clients. There's a certain way I think you have to make proposals for retainers. I myself have not really figured it out yet on at least the commercial side of things. A lot of my clients they keep coming back for real estate and stuff, so I don't necessarily need retainers for them. And weddings are very one-off, right? So there's no need for retainers there.
Yeah.
But they do have a lot of good templates. I know that for sure. Creative Rise goes into a lot of, retainers as well. They do I think they have an email marketing course that you can buy as well. And all this stuff as well, it's maybe a couple $100, but the value you're getting out of it, and I'm not getting paid to say this, by the way, the value you get out of it is crazy. So if you're just starting out, and that's the question, if you're a beginning filmmaker, videographer, whatever the fuck you want to call yourself, content creator, I think investing in yourself is huge, right? So, but investing in the right things, a course, educating yourself, YouTube University, that will, pay off dividends in the long run. And then just shooting, everything you freaking can, just, you buy a camera, go out and shoot every sunset you can, kind of start. The reason why I think, I got into it in the travel industry, and it sounds like how you got into it as well, it was I just started making content just to make content. I didn't start making content for clients. I started just making it for myself, with a dinky little GoPro. And it kind of just starts there, just always creating, always putting something out, and perfection's impossible, right? So always kind of just pushing the envelope of shooting with different techniques, using new gear, shooting with people, directing, DPing, whatever, just doing as much as you can, right?
I think it's something that gets overlooked often too, that I try to give as advice to young creatives or those just starting out on the path is figure out what you like.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to do the stuff that you're in love with. And I think in school, we get so much of that energy beaten out of us of but I like to do this. I want to go draw pictures of race cars I want to go play on the structure or whatever. Like once you figured out like you want to do something creative, I'm always telling people like, what's the thing that you get up in the morning and you're super fired up by? I want to shoot like video about cars, or I want to make video about restaurants, or, like find whatever it is that excites you and point towards that, because that energy will come through.
Totally. It starts with that, right? I mean, if you hate shooting cars, don't shoot cars right away. Like that's not something that you're going to obviously be passionate about.
Sure.
And I'm saying this right now, like not everyone can be a business owner. Like it's tough. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of work. So I think starting out with the things that you actually like to do, like I love to shoot real estate still. Like I love to shoot weddings still. And those are, I found, two very scalable businesses, right? And now I'm more in love with the business than I actually am with the shooting. So that's kind of where I'm at. But, for someone who loves to shoot cars, focus on shooting cars, find clients, partner with brands that, you start shooting in that industry you want to be in, and start offering your services for free. It doesn't have to be, everyone starts somewhere, like do it for, a free product, in a trade agreement, whatnot, and you'll start just building a portfolio and snowballing from there. So.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, Sam, dude, thank you so much for coming on the Bartcast.
The Bartcast, man. Wow, I love the name of the podcast. I didn't know. Yeah, it's super sweet. I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, I appreciate your time, and we'll have to do it again when you're getting ready to premiere your premiere.
Yes, I will definitely be hitting you up, and we'll have to have another chat about that for sure.
Yeah, dog. Well,
Dub dog.
Thank you so much.
Boom.
And
thanks, dude.
Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. Much love to you out there in the digital realms. Peace.